Hi, I'm Gary. Today we'll discuss the topic of abstinence and semen retention from the point of view of yoga. Currently, the topic has become quite popular, and it causes controversial opinions, and there are many supporters of this idea, as well as those who criticize this idea, saying that abstinence is harmful to the male body. I in turn want to shed light on this topic from the point of view of yoga system, the practice of which is many thousands of years old, and my own experience of practicing varying degrees of abstinence for 30 years, which fully confirms the point of view of traditional yoga. So we'll be quoting Harish Johari, one famous student and follower of Swami Sivananda, famous yogi and preacher. He founded the Swami Sivananda Yoga Institute in Rishikesh in 1963 and was its director. He actively promoted yoga and Vedic culture outside of India, lectured and held seminars in the USA, Canada, and Europe, received an honorary doctorate in yoga, passed away in 1984, considered one of the most influential popularizers of traditional yoga in the West in the 20th century. His books are still popular and reprinted. I must say his opinion on this subject is shared by all authoritative yoga schools, regardless of which direction and parampara they belong to. Thus, Harish Johari is a prominent representative of Indian spiritual thought, who played a big role in spreading yoga and Vedic knowledge around the world. In the 15th chapter of his book, Dhanvantari, 3 important topics are discussed like sex, bad habits, and youth, which correspond to our topic about the dangers of masturbation. The author begins with the fact that human consciousness is closely connected with sperm. After all, sperm contains genetic material, some kind of archetypes, the whole essence of a person in an embryonic form. Therefore, sperm is very valuable substance in the male body. So, this is a quote from the 15th chapter of book Dhanvantari.
Consciousness cannot be born without sperm. In the contents of the germplasm, or gamete nucleus, are all the elements that make up the human body. Sperm is the carrier of genes, archetypes, and the collective unconscious. It contains the essence of embodied being in microscopic form. Sperm is the most precious substance in the human body. The components of reproductive cells and the fluid in which they float are drawn from all organs of the body to the brain, to the command center of the pituitary gland, the control link for growth and reproduction. The pituitary and sex glands play an essential role in the concentration and distribution of sperm.
The following describes in detail how sperm is produced in the testicles, and the pituitary gland in the brain coordinates the whole process. Semen contains a special liquid called Ojas, which carries vital energy. It is Ojas that gives the sperm the strength to fertilize the egg. Ojas is present in both men and women, supporting their reproductive function.
The pituitary gland stimulates the release of chemicals from various organs and directs them to the testicles and ovaries. This process occurs due to the mechanism of action of gonadotropic hormone star. Hormones of the anterior lobe of the epididymis, which stimulate the activity of the ovarian follicles. The essence of sperm is Ojas. This magical liquid is life itself, vitality, radiance, a blush of health, glowing on children's cheeks. Ojas, the viscous fluid in which the germ cells are located, gives the sperm the necessary strength so that it can make its journey and fertilize the egg merge into the one. Ojas, present in both women and men, activates and nourishes the sperm before and after conception. Activities and work patterns that go against the harmonious life process consume Ojas. Illness, chronic tension, unbridled and personality-destroying behavior all suck the Ojas from the surface of the body, depriving the deep-seated vital organs of the ojasic flushing and nourishment. In such cases, the blush disappears, the face becomes dry and pale. The same phenomena are observed as a result of sexual excesses to which a person indulges.
It is further stated that the loss of sperm and Ojas is very detrimental to health. After all, these substances renew the entire body, give vitality. Especially dangerous is the loss at a young age when the body is still developing. Therefore, yogis recommend practicing semen retention to control the loss of sperm. It helps to focus and meditate, but excessive loss of semen leads to a weakening of consciousness and health.
The loss of semen and ojas causes severe damage to the body. After all, ojas renews the entire body, and its quantitative loss leads to imbalance and disease. Similarly, in the germ cells, which are drawn from every organ of the body, all the chemicals of the body are present in their purest and most refined state, and their loss causes tension in the body. In the normal state, the system produces an excessive amount of ojas, and in men, sperm ***, for the accumulation and preservation of which in the brain, the pituitary gland is responsible. This excess ojas breathes new life into the entire nervous system, and it is for this reason that yoga recommends restricting and controlling the ejaculation. This explains why sexual excess is harder on the male body. With each intercourse, the male body produces a new portion of the seed, while the woman is born with a fixed number of germ cells formed.
Separately, the author dwells on the importance of celibacy up to 21 years for men and up to 18 years for women. During this period, the body especially needs ojas. Practical advice is given on diet and behavior to preserve ojas.
Excessive loss of semen and ojas drains these substances from the genitals and brain, leaving the mind in a state of complete stupor, a prisoner of fantasy and aimless wandering. If a person leads a normal life and lives in the real world, he needs a higher level of vibration than that required by ascetics and hermits. That is why, when he becomes an adult and receives an education, he should marry and learn to control the release of sperm. However, moderation should always be remembered. Therefore, with prolonged states of excitement and depression, it is recommended to practice abstinence. In any case, celibacy is indicated for men under 21 years of age and women under 18 years of age. In both cases, ojas is vital to support and nourish the still developing organism. The slightest loss of ojas can lead to malformations or cause abnormal development of tissues and structures that will affect the rest of a person's life. By following a few simple practices, you can save the maximum amount of ojas and semen. Men should eat as little acidic foods and salt as possible. Sour foods and salt liquefy the semen and ojas, and in order to control them, on the contrary, they must be thick. If semen and ojas are depleted, they may pass out in the urine during urination. Women should give up sweets and eat more salty foods. Salt gives radiance and blush of femininity. Men are especially advised to eliminate condiments and spices from their diet, unless they are prescribed special treatment. Spices burn sperm. In warm weather, do not use spices at all, and in cold weather only when necessary. Do not eat at night, and do not fill your stomach while eating to satiety. This lowers the energy level. Do not eat solid food 3 to 4 hours before bedtime, and do not drink tea and hot milk in the evening. Don't drink alcohol. Alcoholic drinks deplete the semen, concentrate energy in the genitourinary system, which leads to the excitation of sexual feelings and fantasies. Never look directly into the eyes of a member of the opposite sex. This causes an energy exchange, which can lead to a decrease in energy. In Indian texts, men are advised to look only at women's feet. Be in the company of a member of the opposite sex only in a well-lit room. Darkened rooms stimulate fantasies, especially sexual ones. Before going to bed, men should wash their knees in cold water. This act diverts energy from the genital area and prevents nocturnal emissions.
Then the speech turns to bad habits like smoking, alcohol, and masturbation. They weaken the young organism, interfere with its development. The harm of smoking for the lungs and the whole body is described in detail. Special attention is paid to marijuana, which is also dangerous. Advice is given to smokers on how to reduce harm caused by all this stuff.
During the first 21 years of life for men and the first 18 years of life for women, the body spends most of its energies on growth and development. Any stress for the body during these critical years can forever transform the body and psyche in which direction the branch leans, it grows there. During these years, 3 octaves of life pass, during which the human organism evolves from the state of a newborn baby to the state of a fully developed young man. The introduction of any additional stimuli into the body during these years diverts energy from the tasks of personality development and switches it to tasks related to the survival of the organism. The systematic process of maturation is disrupted before reaching the phase of full bloom. Sperm, kidneys, and lungs play a crucial role in shaping a young body. The seed gives him strength, stamina, and health. The kidneys purify the blood and filter out toxins and poisons from the body. The lungs supply it with oxygen and vital energy, prana. During the first 21 years of life, you need to protect them with all your might so that in later life, you will be healthy not only physically, but also psychologically. The lungs regulate the flow of oxygen and prana into the body. The role of oxygen in the metabolism of the body is quite clear. But in the West, they underestimate the role of the energy present in the atmosphere, the factor that fills all forms of life with vitality. Prana is the name of the life force that permeates the entire atmosphere, which we breathe into the lungs with each breath. Pranic energy sustains life. In fact, it is the very essence of life. Yogis use prana during long burials underground or underwater to maintain the presence of life in the body. Prana sustains and nourishes life. Oxygen can be thought of as a gaseous medium through which prana is absorbed into the body. But prana is not oxygen. Both prana and oxygen enter the body through a numerous network of microscopic capillaries that stretch along the surface of the lungs. The hot smoke of cigarettes, pipes, and cigars has a drying effect not only on the capillaries, but also on the thin layer of mucus that covers the lungs and traps foreign substances that have succeeded in slip past the safety device system in the nostrils. This withering effect in turn irritates the nerves and causes additional mucus to flow from other parts of the body to counteract heat and dryness. The new mucus mixes with the rest of the smoke, forming a thick layer that greatly reduces the smoker's ability to absorb oxygen and prana from the air. Everything that has been said about smoking up to this point applies equally to tobacco and marijuana. Taking into account all that has been said, a person should categorically not smoke until his system has reached full development, until the age of 21 for a man, and until the age of 18 for a woman.
The following is a description of the negative effects of alcohol on the liver, kidneys, and hormonal levels. Alcohol is especially dangerous for the developing body of a young person.
Drunkenness. Alcohol destroys ojas, poisons the kidneys due to overstimulation, overtaxes the liver, and leads to reckless behavior. The dangers associated with intoxication have been discussed in detail in many books, and this clearly indicates that alcohol is a real poison for the human body.
In general, about the dangers of alcohol, there is much information available in the internet. Here we won't focus on this. The topic of bad habits ends with a description of the destructive effect of masturbation. It not only harms physically, but also psychologically, causing a feeling of guilt. It's better to direct sexual energy to creativity and spiritual growth.
Of all practices that young men allow themselves, masturbation is the most destructive for their further physical and mental health. In the years when the body is formed, great importance is given to ojas, which gives health, endurance, and the ability to concentrate. The loss of ojas promises illness, weakness, and idleness of the mind. In addition, masturbation inevitably makes a person feel guilty and suffer from an inferiority complex. Masturbation is rightly called the sin of the hermits because it is almost universally practiced by hermits. A masturbating person is always afraid of being caught at the scene of a crime, and this gives rise to a feeling of guilt and the inevitability of punishment. And besides, Once you perform an action that is intuitively perceived as shameful, it becomes much easier to master other negative behaviors. The use of hands to manipulate the genitals reduces the sensitivity of the fingers, because when overcoming natural resistance in order to obtain instant pleasure, the tenderness of the touch disappears. Sexual energy can be effectively directed into the field of science and creativity. These are the only possible means for its complete sublimation. All sexually arousing stimuli should be avoided, including erotic films, books, and works of art. In our time, such a task is practically impossible. Television, radio, and print media with their new morality intrusively affect our psyche, enticing us with exciting sights and sounds. If you find yourself in a zone of exciting influence, look away and walk away. Stay focused. Focus your thoughts on business. Study God.
At the end is the story of how Socrates advised the newlywed to restrain sexual ardor, and he did not recommend having sexual intercourse more than once a year. The author knows that Hinduism has a more loyal attitude towards sex than recommended by Socrates. However, excess is harmful in any way. The author of the book does not recommend doing this more than 2 times a month, otherwise destructive processes in the body begin. So, let's stop here. I think it's enough for today. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Good luck, everyone.